Alright everyone, we start off today talking about Beijing Biden's dogs. We actually have something newsworthy involving his pets actually to talk about. Even the MSM is actually reporting on this, which, considering the optics of it aren't great for Joe Biden, actually is a little bit of a surprise. That means people actually know about something inconvenient that happened in the Biden White House. That's literally the first time that that's happened. Interesting. Of course, if it involved him, they'd cover it up. But it's his dog, so it's lower grade problem for him, so they're willing to do so in order to appear somewhat fair. Honk honk. Anyway, first and foremost, if you're watching this video on YouTube, there will be a pinned comment down below with links to 4 other video hosting sites that I use. I use Rumble, I use Odyssey, I use BitChute, and I use Dailymotion. We shouldn't even call it alt tech at this point, it's just new tech. It's newer, more innovative, well, except for Dailymotion, that's technically older than YouTube is. I just find it interesting to be hyper-competitive there. And I make 2 videos every single day that aren't on YouTube at this point. YouTube's algorithms, if you upload more than 2 videos, punish you even more, number one, I've realized. And number 2, there are a lot of topics that are too spicy for YouTube. They've dumbed down the site to the point where it's basically Y7. It's now the Nickelodeon of video hosting, so there's less and less of a place for interesting and independent content creators. And I'm not the only one suffering from that. It's across a very broad political spectrum. Anyway, back to Joe Biden's dogs. We finally found out that there's something newsworthy regarding them, because before it was Joe Biden likes dogs. Joe Biden is trusted by dogs. Here's Joe Biden posing with his dogs. Here's Joe Biden's dog socks. Wow, what a swell guy. I'm noticing something interesting in this coverage of his younger dog, Major, nipping the hand of a security guard in the White House. Now, if he needed medical attention, it was more than just a little nip. The dog bit him. It wasn't a sustained attack, but he probably sustained injuries enough to need stitches. German Shepherds have rather powerful jaws. They're rather large dogs. They can also be aggressive if not trained properly. That being said, I notice a glaring difference in the reaction to this among Twitter liberals. It's very interesting, and elements of the MSM that do really, really sappy fluff pieces for the Bidens because they're literally on the government payroll at this point. They're basically North Korean-style state media, if you can believe that. That's what we've devolved into. All of the same people that before, even like literally days ago, were saying, well, Joe Biden loves dogs and is trusted by them. He gets along with dogs, therefore he must be a good person. Like you like pets, you like animals, don't trust them if they don't like pets, which I kind of agree with unless you have severe allergies. Get a snake or something. Snakes are cool. Get tarantulas. I've always wanted a pet tarantula that I can feed small animals to it and watch them die. I think that's funny. Anyway, I'm semi-joking. I was a troubled child. Get some piranhas and then feed them your fingers as a joke. It's finger food. Sorry for the dad joke. And anyway, what was I saying about Joe Biden's dogs? Interestingly, the same groups and people that were saying that it was very, very significant that he was liked by animals before, now all of a sudden have literally jack shit to say about the possibility that he trained the dogs improperly and therefore is less competent. Or his dog is aggressive, therefore there's something wrong with the owner. And a lot of people will recognize that. Typically, if a dog lashes out at people, with the exception of a few breeds that tend towards violence, like pit bulls, which I do believe should be banned. Sorry, pit bull owners, but I'm not on your side on that particular one. Yes, I realize more often it's the owner, but there's a famous Stone Toss comic about pit bull owners. I probably shouldn't talk about it on YouTube. There's an insinuation there, and I don't mean a racial component. I mean, well, never mind. Anyway, with this, it's interesting because they gave it great significance even a few days ago. The fact that he owned dogs, the fact that he liked dogs, and they appeared to like him was significant. Now the fact that his dog lashed out at someone and is apparently violent, had to be sent back to Delaware, is meaningless. They don't attach any significance to it. I love that the MSM is forced to cover it. And it's funny because people can make all sorts of jokes. Like, remember that time that Joe Biden bit his wife's finger? Like, up on stage, she reached over and he bit it. And it was playful. I mean, it was a playful bite, just like this dog nipping the security officer. And I always thought that it was because he thought that she was trying to take his corn pops away. He got confused. Maybe he thought that she was corn pop in disguise, or a Russian spy or something. He is paranoid. There are Democrats right now that are suggesting that the security barriers and troops in the Capitol should stay permanently. Just to show you how dystopian things have become. Just so we're and Joe Biden's dogs get more MSM coverage, by the way, than that report by the Democrats that they've put in. Thankfully, I don't think Joe Biden's crazy enough to actually permanently weaponize the Capitol. It'd be pretty bad optics, but, you know, the Democrats might try it. I just find the story funny because it's like so much significance, even by the MSM. There were fluff pieces by supposedly legitimate mainstream journos that insinuated that Joe Biden's love affair with his dogs was politically significant. It said something deeper about his character. Well, you can't possibly believe he's bad. He broke his foot trying to grab his dog's tail in the shower. I don't understand why people didn't ask more questions about that particular story. The MSM clammed up completely. They're not even complaining about the fact that they're not allowed to ask Biden fucking questions at this point. After his little digital conferences there, they always shut the feed off immediately. And twice now he's been confused and thought he was going to answer questions or do additional commentary, and then it just goes blank while he does his old man stare into the camera, or off to the side rather. Interesting optics there. But none of them, not a single one as far as I can tell, CNN, MSNBC, any of these, like a Krugman pundit or a Jared Holt, none of these people are attaching any further significance to his dogs because now they've gone bye-bye. It'll be interesting because now you've got one less bit of propaganda from the White House. So he won't be able to do the I Love Pets thing anymore except when he's on break. He'll have to go back home to the swamp in Delaware, back to his fucking mansion in order to do his fluff pieces, to do like little photographs with his dogs and stuff, and he can toss the frisbee and the dogs can catch it, and it'll be very, very cute and fluffy, and it says something about Joe Biden's character again when the dog's not biting somebody. The propaganda is rather sheer. We're falling into dystopia. So it's sort of like a combination of Brave New World and 1984 at the moment. Liberals are totally hyper-medicated at this point. Their cognitive dissonance is so sheer, it's almost not even worth fucking debating the point half the time with them. But it's interesting because at least the propaganda is funny. The lie is so big that it takes a complete moron to believe it at this point. Look at the lies by omission. The same groups giving these dogs artificial importance for several months. Jack to say about it now. We can't question Biden's character because Orange Man bad. They've scripted themselves into a corner. So this is definitely a funny story. It's funny because Joe Biden's such a fuck up. Even his pets make mistakes. Even his pets make significant gaffes. The optics fails. They have a little dementia moment. I think his older dog is literally like, isn't it like an elderly dog? And then Major, I think, what they say, 3 years old or something, so on the young side. And they're like, well, he got spooked. He's in an unfamiliar surroundings. Just because your dog is in unfamiliar surroundings doesn't mean they should get away with biting people. Oftentimes, if a dog bites someone and it's more than a nip, if it required medical attention, they get put down. Are we gonna exterminate Joe Biden's dogs because they were trained wrong and they're a threat to those around them? Be interesting if the legal system were to actually enforce the same rules that it does with normal people. That's about all. Peace out.